A 22-year-old Neapolitan workman is the protagonist in the latest chapter in the Berlusconi-Noemi Letizia scandal. Gino Flaminio was the girl's boyfriend from August 2007 until the 10th of January 2009. And in an interview in the daily newspaper La Repubblica, he reveals some background information regarding the relationship between the president of the council and Noemi. Berlusconi has said he only saw the girl 3 or 4 times and always in the company of her parents. Not only that, the Italian Prime Minister has always maintained that the bond between him and the Letizia family sprang from his close friendship with Noemi's father, Elio. But Gino Flaminio tells La Repubblica another story.
Un giorno all'improvviso mi chiama Noemi e mi dice: sai amore, sai chi mi ha chiamato?
One day, all of a sudden, Noemi called me and told me, "Hey, sweetie, you know who called me?" "The president of the council," I said. "Baby, that's impossible. Why would he call you? What would he call you for?" And she told me, "You know, honey, it was just by chance. I can't believe it either. But maybe he even said one day he'd call me again. He didn't have much to say. He told me to study. I seemed like a nice girl, a good girl. To stay that way, study hard, that kind of thing." He told her he was struck by her angelic face, her purity, her simplicity.
La sua semplicità.
Noemi's parents had nothing to do with it. The relationship was with Noemi herself. It started between Berlusconi and Noemi. The relationship between Noemi and the president began more or less in October 2008. Noemi told me she'd had some pictures taken for a fashion book. She had delivered it to a Roman agency, an important one.
Gino Flaminio tells La Repubblica reporters that the book with pictures of his ex-girlfriend accidentally wound up in Berlusconi's hands after a dinner with a journalist, a friend of his who hangs out at the agency. That's how the phone call started. The first time, Gino says, Berlusconi only revealed his true identity to Noemi towards the end of the call. "If I tell you who I am, you won't believe it. Don't you know my voice?" Other calls followed, also in Gino's presence.
Qualche volta, qualche telefonata, che è capitato che ero anche io presente.
When it happened that I was there for one of the calls, Noemi would let me hear snippets of the president of the council's voice. So at that point, I believed it was happening. I believed it. But it was a simple relationship, very simple, with no everything out in the open, something like a phone call between a dad and the daughter, nothing more.
Un papà e una figlia. Niente di più.
One episode that affected things between Gino and Noemi dates from last New Year's Eve when the girl was still 17.
The thing that I really couldn't stomach was the long New Year's holiday in Sardinia, in his villa. Noemi told me in December that Papi had invited her there.
Come mi ha detto lei, era stata invitata lei, e era stata invitata lei e un'amica, poteva portare un'amica dal presidente del consiglio.
What she told me was she had been invited by the president of the council. She could bring a girlfriend, invited to Sardinia to spend New Year's for 5 or 6 days, 7 days, she and a girlfriend with other girls. They had fun, they all hung out together, there weren't any men around, is what she always told me. Just good, clean fun.
Una cosa pulita.
So she left around 26th or 27th of December and came back on the 4th or 5th of January. When she came home, she told me a lot of things, that Berlusconi had treated her well, her and her friends. They joked, they laughed. The girls stayed in these bungalows that are in the park. She said that Berlusconi was only with them the night of New Year's Eve. To tell you the truth, I don't believe it. Too many strange things happened. I called Noemi on her cell phone and she never answered. I tried again and again, then I gave up and called Roberta, her friend. And it drove me crazy when Roberta said, "No, I can't put her on, she's over there." Over where? Or she was eating. So what, I said, but there was no answer. Noemi's parents accompanied her to Rome for that holiday at the end of the year. Noemi and Roberta stopped first at a villa there. Then they put them on the president's private plane together with other girls, is what Noemi told me. When she came home, Noemi wasn't my Noemi anymore.
Già da prima c'era il tracollo di questo rapporto.
Things were already going badly for us. Things were already falling apart between me and her. Obviously she wasn't thinking about me anymore. Who knows what she was thinking about? A different world, a world she likes, that's always been her dream, always. So she didn't see me anymore as the guy who could give her... What could I give her? Nothing. It was impossible. I could never aspire to anything like that. It was like a dumb example. It was like the guy at the meat counter dreaming of being Jennifer Lopez's boyfriend. I mean, that's just impossible. You can't let yourself. You can't afford it. It can't happen. It's impossible.
Impossibile.
Elio Letizia did not like the interview with Gino Flaminio in La Repubblica. Noemi's father has announced that he will take legal action against both his daughter's ex-boyfriend and the newspaper. His account attributes things to my daughter that she never did or said or thought. Letizia has always called his friendship with Silvio Berlusconi a secret, until 25th of May, when he recounted for the first time in an interview with the daily paper Il Mattino how he met the Prime Minister. After a casual handshake in 1990 in Rome and an encounter in Naples after a public meeting, it was the death of Letizia's 19-year-old son in a road accident in 2001 that brought the two men together. I conveyed the news to Berlusconi and he sent me a touching letter, Letizia recounts. I think my relationship with him started that day. It was comforting. It was kind of him. A phone call followed. I was struck by his extraordinary empathy. Letizia says that at Christmas the same year in Rome, he introduced Berlusconi to his wife and daughter, who was 10 years old at the time. Thus, the Berlusconi-Noemi case continues to be characterized by contradictory versions recounted by the protagonists of the affair. Italians only learned about the friendship between Noemi Letizia and Berlusconi on April 28th. La Repubblica revealed that the premier had attended the girl's 18th birthday party in a restaurant near Naples. This news provoked a reaction from Berlusconi's wife, Veronica Lario, who announced she would be filing for a divorce. I can't be with a man who frequents underage girls. La Repubblica has requested an interview with the premier in order to clear up the many uncertainties of this situation. No reply was forthcoming, so the paper published the 10 questions it would have put to him on May 14th. La Repubblica continues to publish its 10 questions every day. Meanwhile, videos and uncontested eyewitness accounts revealing Noemi's participation in evenings at which Berlusconi was also present, an encounter between the government and representatives of Italian industry in Rome last November, and the Christmas 2008 party with Milan, the football team the Prime Minister owns, have increased doubts and questions about his version of events. I will explain everything, the Prime Minister said in an interview on CNN, but so far he has not done so.